All right, gang, you are in for a treat. This is Drinking on the Fly. I'm Sean. Along with me is Kyle Ludwig, Ludwig Outdoors, Ludwig, or Fly Tying with Ludwig. I always mess that up. You guys can check out the Kayak Flyer podcast. That's my podcast, and you can follow me on Instagram just like you can follow Kyle. Geez, I think I've had too many of these public house beers already tonight. Um, so what are we all? And we got our special guest tonight. We've got Joel from Layy R Streamers. A lot of you guys know Joel. If you listen to my podcast, you've seen him around. You probably follow him on Facebook as well. He is a big fly tire, meaning one, his weight, and two, the size of the flies that he ties. You like that? All right. So we're going to do these next two episodes. So this will be basically the February edition. What we're going to do is we're going to have Kyle tie a fly, and we're going to let Joel critique him a little bit. And then we're going to tie. I'm not going to tie a fly this month. I get a vacation, and then Joel's going to tie a fly for us, so you guys can see somebody other than just my ugly mug doing it. So, guys, before we get started, let's figure out what we're all drinking.
Yeah. I'm drinking Public House Revelation Dry Stout.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty good.
That's a good one. How about you, Joel?
I'm keeping it sunny with Sol Mexicana.
Oh, hey, that literally is amazing because you are in the Great White North where nobody from Mexico would ever want to go because they've got nice weather.
Yeah, what's the temperature?
Hey, man, it was above zero today, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah. Above zero in Canadian or above zero in Fahrenheit?
Both.
See, I think that the Canadian temperature is sort of like the American dollar. The Canadian temperature is always just a little off from what the American temperature is.
Just a touch. But when it's below zero on both sides, it's really freaking cold, man.
Yeah.
It was like 50 degrees here.
Yeah. It reaches a point in cold where it just doesn't matter anymore. But we're getting snow on Saturday, dude.
Yeah, it's 3 to 6 inches. The whole town's gonna be shut down.
Oh, I think I'm supposed to get ice, so we'll see what happens. I'm brewing beer this weekend for a beer competition. Drew the same ingredients that I had for a beer in the past, and so
Nice.
we're gonna make one beer like we did in the past, and then we're gonna try and make a radler. And I'm not a radler fan, so this is going to be interesting to see how it works out. But tonight I am drinking, and these two episodes are the last of our free beer.
What?
Yes.
Mine was free.
I'm going to be trying the Public House Cream Ale, which I've never tried. And then next episode,
That's a good one.
I'm going to try the Public House Dry Fly Session IPA. I've never tried either of these. Public House has been really nice. They basically the first 6 shows, for 6 shows, they've sponsored us. So leave a comment down in the bottom if there's a beer you want us to try out. I know in March, when the March shows, which we'll be recording in February, I'm going to bust out a bottle of what is it? It's the barrel aged Bourbon County Stout. I'm going to go ahead and drink that from this Christmas. That'll be a special long tie, big streamer show for that one. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and give this a taste. And then while I'm pouring this, why don't you tell us, Kyle, what you're going to tie and give us the ingredient list?
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to tie the GTI Caddis. It's a Lantegan pattern, I believe. And so it basically just a caddis imitation. So what's in the fly? We got olive hare's ear dubbing. There's some olive or peacock ice dub. And I'll go through this as I'm tying it. We got regular peacock, some flash, some scudback. So, and I'll walk you through it.
Now, Egan, I find this interesting. How many flies, the Rainbow Warrior, the Dart, the tungsten surveyor. He
Mhm.
has so many neat flies, and he's a young guy.
Yeah, he's got a lot of cool patterns. I really like this pattern a lot, and I honestly kind of forgot about it for a while. And I had a guy order a bunch of them, and I was like, wow, I forgot how cool these were. Uh,
Yeah, I was looking at your Instagram, and it's a beautiful fly. Have you seen the Instagram post yet, Joel?
No, I have not.
Oh, you need to go and look at what this fly is going to look like at the end. It's a gorgeous fly.
Okay.
yeah,
But go ahead and tell us what you're doing, Kyle. I don't want to take up all the
oh, you're
time.
good. Yeah, so I just lay the thread base down, and now I'm tying in the the peacock herl, and I actually take for the peacock, I take two small strands of it, and I just kind of I fold them to where there's basically four ends now. Obviously, I'll straighten them out, cut them, find my scissors.
And you've got the scissor hook up if you want to go ahead and plug them.
Yeah, Renomed scissors. They're like the lightest scissors. I've said it a million times, but they are seriously super light and super strong. I've even dropped them a few times, and nothing's really happened to them. So
Dude, I dropped my good loon scissors the other day, and
point
it
it down.
ruined them. It ruined them.
Oh, I've done that with a pair of Dr. Slicks before.
Yeah,
Luckily,
me too.
those held up all right. Actually, a little bend, but it was fine.
Well,
Luckily, I'm on carpet. On my floor is carpet right here. So luckily,
Yeah, I'm on tile.
but
I
I
dropped a
have.
pair and they actually went down through my big toe once.
Oh god,
That sucked.
Like
Jeez.
in between it or into it.
No, like right into my big toe.
Oh,
Ouch.
Yeah, it bled a bit. It bled a lot actually.
Yeah, those. I mean, scissors. Yeah, they're not unless you got like some of the duller like blade ones, like the tips. They don't really have tips. They're cutting foam and other materials like hair. But
well,
all right, so
my biggest problem with scissors is I've got like 30 pair and I can only find 3.
yeah, luckily I keep all. I try. Well, at least I try. Sometimes they slide under my board here, but I keep them all. I try to keep them all in one spot. All right. So I got the peacock tied in there, and that just gives it a little, like a little tail.
And what hook are you using?
This is a Firehole 317, so it's kind of like a. I tie scuds on these hooks. I tie caddis on these hooks. It's kind of like a all-purpose hook, I think.
And what sizes do you tie this fly in?
I'll tie it in 14, 16, 18. Not a lot of 18s just because of the scud back. Sometimes it's hard to find a smaller scud back. This is 1/8 inch scud back I'll be using, but once you get down to like size 18, it's kind of tough. So they make a little bit smaller ones, but they're kind of hard to. I guess I haven't really found a whole lot of them. I guess maybe I'm looking at the wrong spot.
Yeah.
I guess I can. I looked on Dualies. I didn't see one that's much smaller than an eighth of an inch.
Yeah, I know. I buy the baby bug back. Dooley has Fly Tires Dungeon, and I get the baby bug back from there. I like
Yeah,
it.
I think that's an eighth inch, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
it's
think
an
I've
eighth
seen it.
inch, and you can
Yeah.
save whenever you shop with Dooley with promo code Kayak 15%.
Shameless plug. Pout.
Hey,
Yeah, I've
I'm
got.
about ready to shamelessly plug this cream ale because it's actually pretty good, and I was kind of worried about that being an IPA guy.
Yeah, I've got more stuff from Dooley's coming. I'm waiting on that. Mostly hooks, but all right. So right now, so this is my one of the ribs that I use. You can't even see it. This is tippet, so you're not gonna be able to see it. It's a 5x tippet. Instead of using wire, the tippet gives it more. You, you don't see it as well, so you're really just seeing the scud back, the underbelly of the fly. You're not really the ribbing isn't really the attention of this fly. Um, so I tie in the tippet first, tie it up, then I tie in some flash. This is just crystal flash. You can't really see it. This is
Yeah,
in
just
sharp.
regular.
Yeah, just regular crystal flash. You can use whatever colors you want. I'm doing olive. This is actually a chartreuse color, but you're using one strand, so it ain't really gonna pop or anything. It's just gonna give it. If it hits some light, it'll shine a little bit. But let me tie that down in there. And the thread I use is this is 12/0 thread, so it's a little bit smaller thread.
I have dropped down to some 16 and 14-aught thread.
Yeah, I've never gone that small. I've never tied like size 24 flies though, so I probably would have to drop it a little bit, especially some dry flies that small. That's another thing I want to get into is some smaller dry fly stuff. The
Well,
opposite
I
end
have
of
to,
Joel.
yeah, I have to order some hooks from Dooley. I had some size 18 hooks. I bought his Griffith Nat box, and I tied like 10 of them, maybe, and I put it somewhere and I've lost it. And so I've got to reorder. But those size 18 hooks, I want to do some mosquitoes on.
Yeah, you did one
The
of those
moose
today,
mane
right?
mosquitoes.
Yes, the moose mane mosquitoes. Those are gorgeous.
Yeah, you should have enough moose mane to tie quite a bit of those now.
Yep, and I need to put them on Instagram. I've been neglecting the Kayak Flyer Instagram. I hope
Yeah,
you've
I
been
went
putting
there
photos
today.
on the
I actually went
drinking
there
on the
today, and
fly.
you haven't posted in months, man.
I know, and that's my fault. I've just been lazy, but hopefully you've been posting on the drinking on the fly.
Actually, I haven't, but I need to start doing some more stuff for that. It's just been crazy. I need to just tag my stuff with that one, and then just cross it.
Yeah,
But,
that's what you need to do. So you're dubbing on some peacock dubbing then,
no,
or is that the hare's mask?
this is just a hare's ear.
Hare's ear.
It's an olive. You can use a hare's mask too. I have one. I just don't. I just had this closer to me.
Now,
And
question: could you use squirrel?
oh yeah, yeah, you can use squirrel. You can use whatever dubbing you want. The hare's ear, the squirrel would work probably just as well. It's nice and buggy. I just wouldn't
Yeah.
use like a dry fly dubbing. It'll look too smooth.
Yeah.
It'll
Well, I've got
still
a lot of
fish.
squirrel hair.
Oh yeah, you could use squirrel on this. I just kind of took his traditional pattern, like his material list, and just kind of went with it. But you could,
Yeah.
I mean, you could change up the dubbing, the colors. You don't even have to put scud back on it if you don't want. It'll just be a regular little normal cast. Now, when I dub, I do a little bit at a time here. It's kind of tedious, but it's easier to put more on than take the darn stuff off.
Well, how many times have we watched videos or made videos where, oh, that's too much dubbing, and you're taking it off?
Yeah, so I do,
You
and I
know.
always trim this up. I'm weird.
Well, that's why your flies look so good.
Well, not all of them, but I try.
Better than Joel's.
Way better than mine, man.
I don't know. I was actually looking at a bunch of your streamers the other day, and because I want to get more into some streamer stuff.
Well, I guess this is a good time to announce that either we will be soon or we've already been on Muskie Towns tying with the pros. So you will have a streamer tied when that comes out.
Yeah, I got to get my shit together here and try to figure out what I'm gonna do. All right, so I got that body. I kind of taper it up. At this point, now you're gonna be doing the scud back. This is the color is summer duck. It's kind of like an amber color. And like I
Yeah,
said,
that's the only thing with fly tires is he doesn't have that. He doesn't have a real large variety of colors
What's that?
in Scudback with Fly Tires Dungeon.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, really 3 colors I use the most are this color, black, and like a darker brown.
Yeah, and
I have other colors like olive and stuff, but
he's got a tan. I just got some tan in the mail that looks nice. We'll have to compare when we get together, but yeah. I mean, I like the mad scientist, so I try and deal with his product. And fly tying is like that. I mean, you get a fly shop you like, you get a product you like, you sort of stay loyal to somebody. So
I skipped a step there. Sorry, guys. I
that's fine.
gotta wrap my flash first.
And you're wrapping your flash around
The dubbing,
not around the
scud back yet. That's where the tippet will go. So the flash is like all underneath it.
Okay.
I guess you could go over top, but the flash isn't very durable, so it'll probably break really easy. I do a little
Now, would you be
twist.
able to use like a small wire instead of using the flash, just run over
Yeah,
the
you could use
sow
wire
scud
too.
too?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you could use wire. You could change it up. I just went with his traditional pattern, but yeah, you can use wire. I've done them with wire before. Um,
nice.
yeah. So all right, now there's the flash. You can hardly see it, but when it's in the water and it's on a sunny day, it'll reflect off of it a little bit. It's not super bright, but the fish will notice it and be like, "Oh, what's that?"
Nice.
Um, and then it looks like a bug, and then there they go. All right, now we put the scud back in, and we just tie
You could
it. This
also
is different.
you could also probably use that really extra small holographic tinsel too
Yep,
to give
you
it a
can use that
really,
too.
but I don't
It,
know what the advantage would be.
it's maybe a little thicker
It
than the
may be,
flash. Still shiny. So
yeah.
then this is a little different. So a lot of people will tie like the scud back here and fold it over. The way he does it, a lot of people do this pattern is they tie it up at the top like this by the bead first. So they tie it in there. And this is kind of tricky. It can get kind of frustrating, but once you do it a few times, you get used to it. I put a little hackle plier on my tippet there. The scud back, you just fold down and you wrap the tippet over the scud back by the tail.
And that's what gives you the little shell back, the little
Yeah,
little
and that
cup on
gives
the end
you
of it.
the cut. Yep. And
And
I
then
leave it there. Some people cut that off, but I think it gives it a nice little wiggle. And then you just
that
rib it up.
your peacock is sticking out the butt of that basically.
Yes, peacock sticking out the butt, and then when
Excuse
you're
me.
ribbing this over, the scud back's going to turn on you because you're twisting it around the hook, and so it's going
Mhm.
to pull it. So you just got to make sure you're keeping it straight. So just before you finish it off, just make sure it's straight. Once you get to the top, you just tie the tippet off. I just do a couple twists here. Just make sure it's secured. There we go. All right.
Now,
And
I've seen Al Beatty do some stuff like that where he ties in a ribbing material at the back and then
mhm,
ties in his main material at the front and pulls it back and then ribs over it.
yeah,
And it's if you're not used to it, it's kind of
it's
an
kind of hard.
awkward way to work.
Yeah, when I first started doing these, yeah, it was difficult. I just gave one time I just gave up. I was like, forget it, because I couldn't get it right. It kept turning and falling over, like falling back. But like you said, once you get the hang of it, then I just trim it off. Yeah, then the scud back's done right there. Gives it a nice little tail. Then now this is where you're almost done. So now I just use the peacock. That's ice dub. This stuff's pretty sweet. You can use whatever you wanted here, really. I use a little dubbing for the ice dub because it doesn't like the noodle on your thread very easy. And like I said, I take my dubbing and put it on my fingers, and then I dub it on. Because if you dub your thread first, it gunks up your bobbin.
Yeah, that's an interesting trick I learned from you that I've been using.
Uh, see, doesn't want to stick on there. So I just take it off, get more.
Ought to have his kind of money, just be throwing
I
dubbing away
know,
like that.
just throwing nymph dubbing around like.
All right, it's on there. That was like
So
less than a penny's worth of dubbing. No, it's all right.
so after you've tied, like,
There we go.
let's say you sit at home and you want to give this a whirl and you tie, how many of them would you have to tie to become proficient, do you think, for the average to medium tire? Not the beginner tire, but the medium tire.
Um, I guess I mean to get proficient at a pattern like something like this, I would tie at least a dozen of them. Maybe or somewhere around there. Definitely more than a few, because it's repetitive. The more you do it over and over and over and over again. Eventually, it just comes natural. Especially it's all about like your techniques that you're doing it. All the material is the same. It's just how you're doing it. So
Yeah, Yeah, I find that's one thing that when I teach anybody about fly tying is just don't. A lot of people want to learn patterns and materials, and that's not going to get you to be a good tyer. It's all about technique. Learn how to tie in
Yeah.
a marabou about 4 different ways. Learn how to use bucktail about 7 different ways. You know, your techniques are gonna trump any material pattern recipe.
Yeah, when I first started, my first fly I chose was a flashback pheasant tail nymph. I don't know why. It just looked cool.
Solid.
You know, I didn't choose the easy pheasant tail nymph. I chose the one with the flashback and all kinds of, all kinds of stuff on it, and it is terrible. I still have the fly, and it doesn't even look close to a flashback pheasant tail nymph. But yeah, from there though, I learned I got to figure out how to do this, like not just throw a bunch of stuff on a hook. Like, how do you wrap your thread? Like, keeping it tight, keeping it flat. Your base of your thread, like when the base is actually really important because if it's loose, it's just gonna fall apart. Um, so if like you're wrapping and then like you let go like this, it gets loose. That on the hook is gonna unravel. And it may look like a little bit of an unravel, but it actually unravels all the way down. You may not notice it a whole lot, but it unravels. So if you don't unwrap it and rewrap, it's just gonna be loose. You just want the
Yeah.
fly as tight as you can. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just thread control is huge.
yeah, thread control, yeah.
Huge, just huge. Like, and
Yeah, we're
learning about
done.
different types of thread. It's a big thing. When I first started, I just used the big fly
Hmm.
by Unithread,
That's
and
what I used.
that stuff is great if you're tying like big Esox patterns, big saltwater patterns. It's pretty great. But with
Largemouth and
that,
smallmouth bass patterns.
I find that stuff really takes up a lot of real estate on your hook. So learning your thread control plus the right thread for the job is a big thing. So
And then I got a whole bunch of them going. So
Yeah,
as a
those look
streamer
great, man.
guy, I approve.
sweet.
And I have to say that is the fastest fly you've ever tied on the show.
It is a fast fly. It doesn't look like it would be very fast, but it's not too bad. Yeah, I know. Sometimes I take my time.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, how fast can you? I mean, and granted, you tie a lot of those, but how fast can you tie one of those when you sit down by yourself?
Oh, and just start cranking them out.
Yeah,
Oh, I could probably easily tie a dozen of those in an hour.
yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say that's way under 10-minute tie for sure for you.
Yeah, if I focused, I had all the material out. It's already. I got the flash cut. My tippet's already cut. Obviously, your dubbing, I keep that in a bag. But if I have all that ready and the beads are on the hooks, oh yeah, I could pump them out pretty quick.
yeah. I tied. I don't think I mentioned this last time on the show, but I tied my first size 20s,
Oh dang.
and I tied zebra midges.
Okay. There you
And
go.
I had nano silk, and this is for anybody who hasn't tied with nano silk, this is a great thing to know before you go into it. It's a great thread for what it's made for. It is not a great thread for tying, in my opinion, zebra midges because it's really slick.
Yeah, it is a slick thread,
Same
yeah.
with a lot of natural materials. I tried using it a couple times, especially for spinning deer hair or bucktail. Super slick, and it cuts right through.
Yeah.
It's not friendly. It's not flat like a nice GSP like you would use in those situations, or a mono.
Yeah. And I'll tell
There
you
you go.
what, I didn't have any olive. Well, I didn't have any black. I don't think I had any black that wasn't either big bug or nano silk. And so I tied olive zebra midges with a silver bead and silver wire. And I think they came out great. But I made the mistake. I started doing UV glue over them when
Yeah.
the first handful of them I did. And I just didn't like the way they looked with the UV glue.
Yeah, it didn't have a taper. Did it not have a taper?
Well, I mean, they had the taper, they had the body. It's just I just didn't prefer it. So I tied a bunch of those anyway. I was tying a bunch of them for a friend of mine, so I gave him those, and he really liked them. But then the rest of them that I tied, I didn't UV. I just did a real nice 5-turn whip finish. And I thought, well, if I fish one of these without the UV and it tears up too easy, I'll come back and UV the other ones.
Yeah.
Sally Hansen's hard as nails for those real small guys. Works
Yeah,
really
I got
good.
a
It'll
bottle.
give like a really light shine. Either that, if you go with a UV, try the bone dry or the thin, not the thin,
The flow.
the flow, yeah, for loon.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I've been
that'll
using
work.
the flow. I think I may have been thin, but I thought I had flow. Now is Sally Hansen's, because everybody talks about Sally Hansen's, but is it a UV glue or just a glue?
It's a nail hardener finish. It's
Okay.
used for nails, and you can buy them at dollar stores for like
I stole my
$1.50
wife's.
But it
But
doesn't need
they're
a
really
light.
good. Nope.
How long does it take to dry?
10 minutes.
Yeah, kind of like if you use like loon hardhead,
Okay.
kind of like that.
So has anybody here, speaking of this, and I know, people that are on YouTube where, this show's at, people that are on YouTube, a lot of them are DIYers. And I've seen Mike, the Frugal Fly Rider. I know what he's like, and we'll have him on the show one day because he's a friend. But has anybody made a drying, one of those machines that turns and dries with the little electric motor? Has anybody made one of those or have one of those? Or would that be something you'd
I've
want to
seen them.
invest in if you were using the Sally Hansen to keep it from running?
What I did is you can actually buy fly displays. So if I'm tying like small stuff that I put lacquer or whatever on it, I think it holds 12 on like a wooden disc, and they're just like hackle pliers. So you just take one off the vise, set it in that stand, and you have 12. You have a dozen there drying for you.
Okay.
Yeah, really handy.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's one thing I like about the glue and the UV, and I don't like it about the UV too, because if you don't get it dry, I'm gonna tell you this right now. I've never tasted bone dry, but if it tastes anything like loon, it's horrible. Because I'll get on my thumb and I'll pick up my beer glass like this, and then I've got my thumb here, and then I take a drink, and I'm tasting that all night long.
I've never had it go in my mouth. Not yet, anyway. I spilled stuff all over my desk before, but I've never tasted it.
Yeah.
So yeah, final opinion on this Public House beer. I really like it. I wouldn't think I would like it. I think this would be a great summertime beer. This would be a great, I'm sitting outside in the backyard beer. I think this would be the cream ale.
Yeah.
It's got flavor. It's not overly light, but it's not heavy. Thoughts on the you said you had the
I had the
you don't have the
Revelation dry stout.
Yeah, you have the Revelation.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a nice light stout. It kind of reminds me of Guinness in a way, like in terms of the lightness. It's not a real heavy stout or anything. It's just
yeah. And that's the thing. When I make a stout, when I homebrew stouts, I want stouts I can chew.
Yeah, I like those too.
But those are for like the dead of winter.
Yeah, I've got plenty of them up in my fridge, but
yeah, and so because I've had that one, and it's a good stout, but it's a good stout for a day that's not quite below freezing.
Yeah, it's a lighter stout.
Yeah. So, Joel, any reviews on your beer?
I mean, it's a staple up here, so I drink it. I like a nice light beer. I'm not a big heavy beer guy. So yeah, like a good cerveza is always good. I mean, Corona's kind of a, the brand name, but I like the Sala, has a better flavor. I'm big into craft beer too, but I can't, like, there's a local brewery in central Alberta, and I can't get them here, so they make some really cool stuff, like an Americana brown beer, and it actually has like they roast the hops, so it actually has like a coffee bitter flavor on the back, and it's excellent.
Oh wow!
I'd love to find out more
Yeah.
about
Sounds
that.
actually really good.
Yeah,
We need to make our way up there.
yeah, they actually won an international brewing award in Europe. I think that they have every year. They actually won it.
Wow.
with a brown ale like 2 years in a row with that recipe. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
The brewery's called Troubled Monk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and that's the one thing is there's so many great independent breweries. I mean, I know a lot of our listeners can't get Public House, and give a big shout out to them as a thank you for everything they've done for us. They've got great beers, but just follow them on their Instagram and comment that you heard, from these beers on Drinking on the Fly, and that'll help the show out too. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna dump out of here, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. We're trying to get out every 2 weeks. We had a little bit of a delay over Christmas, but we're trying to get back on track. We've got everything ready for all the way through the month of February. So we're going to be on track for the every 2 week. And if you've got a fly that you'd like to see us tie, or a style of fly you'd like to see us tie, go ahead and drop it in the comments. And then next week, the next episode, the one that Joel's going to tie, we're going to give away a cutthroat leader on that episode. So go ahead and like and subscribe so you don't miss that episode. Guys, for Joel and Kyle, this is Sean with Drinking on the Fly. We'll see you in 2 weeks.